Tonight, you don't have to hold the whole world in your hands. You've been gripping so tightly for so long that even rest can feel like another job. So let this be simpler. Let this be a small room inside your day where you are allowed to soften. Not because everything is solved, not because you suddenly know what will happen, just because you are here and you are worthy of peace in the middle of the unknown. There is a part of you that believes control is love. Control is protection. Control is being responsible. And my dear, I understand why that part learned to work so hard. When life once felt unpredictable, you became the one who predicted. When people once felt hard to read, you became the one who monitored every tone. When outcomes once felt shaky, you became the one who over-prepared, double-checked, and stayed one step ahead. But listen gently. The part of you that controls is not bad. It is tired. It is vigilant. It is trying to make sure you never have to feel the sting of disappointment, the ache of regret, the shock of being caught off guard. So we are not going to attack it. We are going to thank it, and then we are going to teach it something new. Right now, let your attention land on something ordinary, the weight of your body where it meets the chair or the bed. The simple fact of gravity holding you without your effort. The quiet rise and fall of your breath, happening even when you stop managing it. Let that be enough for this moment. Not a performance, not a perfect meditation, just a return. And as you return, you might notice how control lives in the body. Maybe it lives in your jaw. Maybe it lives in your forehead, always slightly tense. Maybe it lives in your stomach, bracing, as if a message could arrive at any second. You don't need to force those places to relax. You only need to notice them with kindness, like you would notice a child standing guard at the window. Sweet one, there is a difference between responsibility and hyper-responsibility. Responsibility says, I will do what is mine to do. Hyper-responsibility says, if I don't manage everything, something terrible will happen and it will be my fault. Responsibility is grounded. Hyper-responsibility is exhausted. Responsibility is a steady lamp. Hyper-responsibility is a wildfire that never sleeps. Here is a truth line to carry in your pocket. Some things can be held softly. You can care deeply without clenching. You can plan wisely without trying to control every ripple. You can love people without carrying their moods on your back. You can show up without trying to guarantee the outcome. So let's make a gentle shift. When your mind says, I must manage everything, you can answer, I will manage what is mine and release what is not. Not as a slogan you have to believe perfectly. As a permission, you practice like learning a new language. I do my part with love, and I allow the rest to unfold. I do my part with love, and I allow the rest to unfold. Notice what happens inside you when you say those words. Maybe nothing dramatic. Maybe just a millimeter of space. That millimeter matters. Peace is often built in millimeters. Now I want to offer you a vow, small and strong. Today, I refuse to abandon myself just to chase certainty. Today, I refuse to abandon myself just to chase certainty. Because that is what control often asks of you, isn't it? It asks you to leave your own center, to leave your own body, to leave this moment, and to live in the future, where you can rehearse every possibility like 1,000 tiny storms. The urge to control often shows up when you are trying to prevent pain. It makes sense. It is a very human instinct to want to avoid discomfort. Yet many people discover something quietly surprising. The more they fight uncertainty, the louder uncertainty feels. The more they chase certainty, the more their mind invents new reasons to worry. Not because they are broken, because the mind is a problem solver, and it will keep solving problems if you keep handing it the job. So we are going to give your mind a different job, a gentler job, a job that brings you back to what you can actually touch and choose. Here is a gentle question for you. What would change if you didn't have to earn peace by predicting everything? You might feel a wave of resistance. You might think, but if I don't predict, I'll be careless. No, my love. Releasing control is not the same as being careless. It is the difference between steering the car and white-knuckling the steering wheel. It is the difference between holding a cup and crushing it. Here is another truth line. You don't need certainty to be okay. You need inner steadiness. Inner steadiness is not a mood you force. It is a relationship you build with yourself. It is the simple trust that if something is hard, you will meet it with support, not alone, not in panic, with support. So when your mind says, "What if it goes wrong?" you can answer, "If it's hard, I will meet it with care. If it's hard, I will meet it with care. If it's hard, I will meet it with care. I can handle this moment, and I can ask for help when I need it. I can handle this moment, and I can ask for help when I need it." Now let these two lines come to you like a soft chorus. I release the need to control. I welcome the peace of allowing. I release the need to control. I welcome the peace of allowing. Maybe you don't fully believe them yet. That's okay. Belief can come later. Right now we are practicing willingness. Willingness is enough to begin. There is a quiet power in letting life carry what it can carry. Letting life handle it does not mean you do nothing. It means you stop gripping the parts that were never truly yours to hold. It means you stop demanding guarantees from an uncertain world. It means you do your part, and then you let go of the rest with dignity. Surrender is not collapse. Surrender is cooperation with reality. If you are someone who has always been strong, always been the responsible one, surrender can feel scary. It can feel like you're stepping into air. So let's make it practical. Choose one area today where you practice good enough. One message you don't rewrite 10 times. One decision you make without researching every possible opinion. One small task you complete without perfection. One moment where you let the dishwasher be slightly imperfect and the world keeps turning. This is not lowering your standards. This is saving your life force. I trust myself to respond, and I trust life to move. I trust myself to respond, and I trust life to move. Now a metaphor to hold gently. An open hand can receive what a clenched fist can never hold. When your hand is clenched, it may feel powerful, but it cannot receive. It cannot feel the texture of what is true. It cannot sense when to adjust. An open hand is not weak. An open hand is wise. It can hold and it can release. It can learn. It can rest. Let me tell you a small story. There was a woman named Mara who used to keep lists inside lists. She kept her life organized like a carefully labeled cabinet, and still she woke up with a tight chest, convinced something would be missed. One afternoon, she was waiting for a call about something important to her. She checked her phone again and again, refreshing, scanning, rereading old messages for hidden meaning. When the call didn't come, her mind started building a courtroom. She argued with an invisible future, trying to force a verdict. Then, in the middle of that spiral, she noticed her hands. They were clenched so hard her nails left little crescents in her palms, and she whispered, almost annoyed at herself, "I'm doing it again." But instead of shaming herself, she tried something different. She stood up, walked to the sink, and ran warm water over her hands. Not as a ritual for perfect calm, just as a way to tell her body, "We are here." She dried her hands slowly, opened her palm, and said, "I have done what I can do today." And for the next 10 minutes, she made tea. The call still hadn't come. Nothing was fixed, but something inside her softened. She realized she could survive the waiting without punishing herself. That was the beginning of her peace. Not a miracle, a practice. My dear, that is what we are doing here. We are learning to survive the waiting with tenderness. We are learning to live without gripping our own hearts. Micro recap, just to anchor you. You can be responsible without being hyper-responsible. You can meet uncertainty with inner steadiness. You can do your part and release the rest. Now let's talk about one of the hardest places to release control: other people. You might try to control how they feel, how they respond, how they understand you, how quickly they change. You might try to control their timing, their attention, their choices, their moods, and it's exhausting because you can't actually hold the steering wheel of another human being. Here is a truth line that can set you free. Loving someone doesn't require managing them. You can care and still have boundaries. You can be compassionate and still not take responsibility for someone else's reactions. You can offer your best and still release the need for approval. So here is a simple inner sentence, gentle but clear. I release you to your path, and I return to mine. I release you to your path, and I return to mine. I release you to your path, and I return to mine. When you say that, you are not rejecting anyone. You are remembering yourself. You are stepping back into your own life where your choices matter. You are choosing to stop negotiating your worth through someone else's response. I am responsible for my choices, not for everyone's reactions. I am responsible for my choices, not for everyone's reactions. And now another vow, simple and strong. I choose gentle clarity over anxious control. I choose gentle clarity over anxious control. Gentle clarity looks like telling the truth without force. It looks like asking for what you need without trying to guarantee the answer. It looks like doing the next right thing and letting the outcome breathe. It looks like resting when your body asks for rest, even when your mind wants to keep running. Now I want to offer a tiny ritual you can carry anywhere. Not fancy, not dramatic, just 3 doorways you can choose when control rises. Doorway 1, soften. Doorway 2, simplify. Doorway 3, surrender. Softening is when you ease the body first. You let your shoulders drop a little. You inch your hands. You let your breath be natural and unforced. You stop arguing with the moment for 1 quiet second. Simplifying is when you reduce the mental load. You choose 1 next step instead of 10. You ask, what is actually required right now? You let later be later. You stop trying to solve tomorrow in the middle of today. Surrendering is when you release what you cannot command. You say, I have done my part. You let life move. You let timing be timing. You let the unknown remain unknown without turning it into a threat. Here is a truth line for this chapter. Small choices create big spaciousness. You don't have to let go of everything at once. You only have to let go of 1 unnecessary grip. 1 compulsive check, 1 extra apology. 1 attempt to manage a feeling that isn't yours to manage. 1 moment of bracing that can become a moment of softness. I am learning to trust, 1 small moment at a time. I am learning to trust, 1 small moment at a time. Let's weave a few gentle affirmations into your breath, like warm light through a window. I am safe enough in this moment. I am allowed to be a work in progress. I release the belief that I must control everything to be okay. I choose peace in the places I can. I let life meet me halfway. And if your mind argues, if it says, but what about the real problems? You can answer with compassion. Yes, there are real problems, and I will meet them when they are here. You are not denying reality. You are refusing to suffer it twice. You are refusing to live in a constant emergency that has not arrived. Here is another micro recap, just to steady you. Softening returns you to your body. Simplifying returns you to your priorities. Surrendering returns you to trust. Trust, in this sense, is not blind. It's not naive. It's a quiet agreement with yourself. It says, whatever comes, I will not abandon me. And that might be the deepest release of control of all. the release of the fear that you will be alone inside what happens. Because when you stop abandoning yourself, uncertainty loses some of its power. Not all of it, but enough for you to breathe. There is another place control likes to hide, in the way you speak to yourself. It shows up as the inner supervisor who never clocks out. It watches your productivity, your tone, your choices, your face, your timing. It keeps score, not because it hates you, but because it thinks scoring will keep you safe. If you grew up learning that being good meant being predictable, pleasing, impressive, or useful, then control can feel like the price of belonging. And when you try to release it, you might fear you'll become lazy, messy, or unlovable. So let's make this clear. You are not releasing your values. You are releasing the whip. You are keeping your integrity and letting go of self-punishment. Here is a gentle question to untie the knot. What if your worth is not a project to manage? Some days you will do everything right and still feel uncertain. Some days you will be kind and still be misunderstood. Some days you will plan well and life will still surprise you. That does not mean you failed. That means you are alive. When control rises, it often speaks in absolutes. It says, I can't handle this. It says, if this doesn't work out, everything falls apart. It says, I must fix it now. But there is another voice in you, calmer and truer. It says, I can take one step. It says, I can pause before I react. It says, I can be gentle even when I'm unsure. Let's practice a simple thought swap. When you notice an absolute, soften it. From I must to I choose. From I can't to I'm learning. From it has to be perfect to it can be honest. From I need an answer now to I can wait and still be okay. And let that be an affirmation you return to. I can wait and still be okay. I can wait and still be okay. Waiting is not a punishment. Waiting is a season. It is the space where life rearranges itself, often quietly, without asking your permission. And you don't have to like waiting to be kind to yourself while you wait. Sometimes, control is the mind trying to avoid feeling. If you can control the situation, you won't have to feel disappointment. If you can control the other person, you won't have to feel fear. If you can control the outcome, you won't have to feel grief. But feelings do not disappear when you outsmart them. They simply wait for you like unopened letters. So we're going to do something brave and simple. We're going to give feelings a little room. Not a flood, just room. If you notice fear, you can say, hello, fear, I see you. If you notice sadness, you can say, hello, sadness, you're allowed to be here. If you notice anger, you can say, hello, anger, thank you for showing me what matters. You don't have to become the feeling. You don't have to fix it immediately. You only have to stop making it your enemy. Here is a truth line for your heart. I can feel this and still be safe enough. I can feel this and still be safe enough. I can feel this and still be safe enough. Now let's talk about the past. Control can reach backward too. It replays conversations. It rewrites choices. It argues with what already happened. It tries to control the story so it won't hurt. But the past is not a door you can walk through and rearrange. It's a place you can bless, learn from, and release. So offer yourself this permission. I release the need to control yesterday. I choose what I do with today. I release the need to control yesterday. I choose what I do with today. If regret visits, meet it gently. Regret is often love with nowhere to go. It means you cared. It means you wish you had known more sooner. So instead of punishing yourself, translate it. Let regret become wisdom. Let wisdom become compassion. There is also the future, that wide blank page. Control wants to write it in ink. It wants to know the plot, the ending, the exact timing of everything you desire. But the future is written in pencil, and it changes as you change. You do not need to know the entire story to take the next page. Here is another small vow. I will not demand certainty to move forward. I will move forward with kindness. I will not demand certainty to move forward. I will move forward with kindness. If you are carrying a decision, you can ask yourself one gentle question. What is the most loving next step I can take without forcing a guarantee? Maybe the loving next step is a conversation. Maybe it is a boundary. Maybe it is rest. Maybe it is asking for clarity. Maybe it is letting time do its work. Whatever it is, let it be one step, not a whole staircase. And when the mind tries to drag you into 10 steps at once, come back to the open hand. Open hand, open heart. Open hand, open heart. You can even whisper this, like a lullaby. I loosen my grip. I keep my love. I loosen my grip. I keep my love. Because that is the fear underneath control, isn't it? That if you loosen your grip, you will lose what you love. But love is not something you can trap. Love is something you practice. Love is something you live. And sometimes love looks like letting life breathe. Here is a metaphor that is different from the open hand, something you can see in your mind without effort. Think of a garden gate. When it is locked too tightly, nothing can enter and nothing can leave. The air can't move. The sunlight can't reach the right places. But when the gate is gently closed, not forced, the garden is still protected, and it can still grow. That is you. You don't need to be wide open with no boundaries, and you don't need to be locked in fear. You can be gently closed. You can be wisely open. Let that become an affirmation. My boundaries can be gentle. My heart can be open. My boundaries can be gentle. My heart can be open. Sometimes control is a way of trying to be prepared for criticism. If you can get everything right, no one can judge you. But the truth is, you can be your most sincere self and still be judged. You can be careful and still be misunderstood. So the goal is not to become untouchable. The goal is to become anchored. Anchored in what? Anchored in your values. Anchored in your effort. Anchored in your ability to repair, to apologize when needed, to learn, to grow. Anchored in your inner home. So, if a wave of what will they think rises, try this. I do not need everyone's approval to be at peace with myself. I do not need everyone's approval to be at peace with myself. And if you're releasing control in a relationship, you might be learning a new kind of courage. The courage to ask directly instead of hinting. The courage to say what you need without chasing. The courage to let silence be silence without turning it into a verdict. The courage to let someone show you who they are over time. Time is a great revealer. Control tries to rush revelation. It tries to force clarity. But clarity is often a slow sunrise, not a light switch. So be gentle with your pacing. Here is a 2-line chorus to return to when you feel the urge to push. I allow time to teach me. I allow myself to breathe. I allow time to teach me. I allow myself to breathe. Now, if your mind says, but I'm afraid of being disappointed, answer softly, yes, disappointment is possible. And so is resilience. So is support. So is renewal. So is unexpected goodness. You do not need to deny risk to live with an open heart. Here is a truth line that is simple and strong. I can't control everything, and I don't have to. I can't control everything, and I don't have to. I can't control everything, and I don't have to. Let those words be a relief, not a defeat. Because control can make you feel like you're carrying a heavy bag you were never meant to carry. And release is simply setting it down for a moment. Setting it down, even briefly, teaches your system a new possibility. And if you want a tiny practice for everyday life, here it is. When you catch yourself tightening, ask, is this a moment for action or a moment for allowing? If it's a moment for action, do the next right thing. If it's a moment for allowing, let yourself stop adding pressure. Let your face soften. Let your tongue unclench from the roof of your mouth. Let your eyes be less sharp. Let your breath be your companion, not your assignment. You might also notice how control shows up in language. It says, I should. It says, I have to. It says, I need them to. Try replacing those with softer truth. I would like to. I'm choosing to. I prefer. I'm willing to ask. Language is a gentle steering wheel for the mind. And now, a small blessing for your inner world. May your thoughts become kinder. May your standards become spacious. May your heart remember it is allowed to rest. Micro recap again, because repetition can be a homecoming. You are keeping responsibility and releasing hyper-responsibility. You are softening the body, simplifying the mind, surrendering the outcome. You are learning that your worth is not something to manage. Now, before we close, let's gather a few affirmations like smooth stones in your pocket. You don't need all of them. You can take the one that feels like water in a dry place. I am allowed to live without constant tension. I trust my ability to respond. I release the need to control what is not mine. I choose peace over perfection. I meet this day with an open hand. And if you want one more gentle question to carry with you, here it is. What would it feel like to be on your own side? You don't have to answer perfectly. Just let it land. Because being on your own side is the foundation of letting go. When you're on your own side, you don't need control to feel safe. You have companionship. You have your own presence. You have your own love. My love, control often hides a tender belief. If I can do everything right, I can prevent pain. And while you can make wise choices, you cannot guarantee a pain-free life. No one can. So the question becomes gentler and more honest. Can I live with an open hand? Can I meet life as it is without crushing myself in the effort to make it perfect? You might be surprised by your answer. It might start as a whisper. Maybe. Not today, but I'm willing. I'm learning. That is enough. That is brave. So as we come toward the end of this time together, I want to bless the part of you that has been holding so much. The planner in you, the protector in you, the one who tried to keep everyone safe, the one who thought love meant never letting anything slip. You did your best with what you knew, and you can learn a kinder way now. I release the need to control. I welcome the peace of allowing. I do what I can with integrity and care, and then I let go with dignity. If you are facing a decision, may you feel guided by calm rather than pressure. If you are facing waiting, may you feel supported inside the waiting. If you are facing change, may you remember that you can adapt without breaking. If you are facing someone else's moods, may you keep your heart open and your boundaries clear. You are not here to micromanage the ocean. You are here to learn how to float, how to swim, how to rest, how to trust the tide without losing your own direction. And when you forget, because you will sometimes forget, you can return to one simple line. Just one. Like a hand on your own chest, like a candle in a dark room. I manage what is mine, and I release what is not. Say it softly whenever you need it. I manage what is mine, and I release what is not. And now, with a gentle exhale, let this be your closing truth. You don't have to control life to be at peace with yourself. You only have to stop fighting your own tenderness. You only have to stop abandoning your present. You only have to come home again and again to the quiet strength inside you. May you sleep with a softer grip. May you wake with a kinder mind. May you move through your days with an open hand. And may peace find you in ordinary moments, the way sunlight finds a room.